Hey y'all, I'm back. If you're new here, I am Queen Bubbles. Here I react to spooky and sports stuff. But this is Audacity Stitch. This is probably part 8. I don't know where we left off. I haven't uploaded this stitch ever since a month ago, but let's get into it.
Okay, here's part 2 of the drafts that I'm recording about the super haunted house that I grew up in. Another thing that happened, I'll include 2 because they're kind of small. So my grandpa, my pappy, he used to fall asleep in the living room a lot, like with his food in front of the TV tray. He would like fall asleep in front of the TV. And where was a back patio where my parents and my Grammy would always go smoke. And so as a kid, we used to all just kind of like go hang out on the back patio. And the patio had these kind of like, so the patio had a sliding glass door that you could access getting into the house, and they had sheer curtains in front of it. So you could see shadows of whoever's like up and moving, right? So I think my mom is facing the sliding glass door, and she sees my pappy get up, but like in a really, really weird, gross way. So he kind of stands up like this and like goes towards the kitchen. And so she's like, oh, like he's going to come out here and he's going to go smoke. So she like opens up the kitchen door, and he is not there. He is sound asleep on the sofa, like sound asleep. But she saw like this like rickety thing like get up and walk over towards the door. Another thing is we had like this clock, like a mini grandfather clock that like goes up on the wall. It was my pappy's. And one night, it flew off the wall. So that was awesome. I'm just gonna include all the little ones. Another thing is, so the hallway was just nasty. It was so nasty. Like there was no light in the hallway. I don't know how to describe it. It was just like a nasty fucking like evil portal thing. And so a lot of stuff would happen in the hallway. Like when I was little and I thought I was a Christian or whatever. My sister and I used to run back to back to the bathroom holding out our Bibles because we were so fucking scared. We used to cover all the mirrors in that house. There was a little girl who would like run up the hallway and like knock on doors and be like, play with me, play with me. Nasty. Also, my mom probably doesn't want me to tell this story because it makes her really sad. When she brought me home after I was born to my Grammy and Pappy's house, I had a crib in like the front room, I think. And she heard me crying. And sorry, my cat is being so annoying right now. I had a crib in that room, and so one night she like opened the door to check on me because I was crying or something like that. And she said she saw a little boy holding onto my crib, just like this, like just kind of looking at her and like holding onto the crib. And she hates me telling this story because she didn't rush in. She actually closed the door and like stood on the other side of the door and just cried because she was so scared. I'm fine ish. So look how I turned out. There's probably a lot more that happened at my house that I just kind of like blocked out. So if I remember, I'll upload them. But I have so many other stories that I need to tell you guys. So I'm going to get to recording those right now.
All right, y'all, let's get in these comments. Say, whoa, the smiley face. Now, what the hell, the little girl knocking on the door talking about come and play at her grandmama and poppy house? And then she said her mama was just cried because she didn't know what to do because she seen the baby. Like, the whole story seemed like just hunted. That whole hunt, it just feel like a haunted house. Y'all comment down y'all thoughts below. What do y'all think it is? Make sure y'all like, comment, and subscribe to this video. All right, let's get back into it.
So I have a story time, and this one scared the shit out of me. So this is a few years ago. Me and my friend, we used to have these parties at our house, like wild parties. It was so much fun. Oh, I love those times. Anyway, so it was a time we were playing King's Cup. King's Cup is a drinking game. I don't know if y'all know what King's Cup is, but basically every number or whatever you pick, it tells you something to do. So number 4 was chore. Just keep that in mind. So it's my ex-girlfriend. It's my friend sitting on the other side of my ex-girlfriend. So my ex-girlfriend and my friend, of course, they know about, things that I've seen, and we've seen things together, things like that. So we're playing King's Cup, like I said. My ex-girlfriend, she had chose a car, and the car was Ford. Now, before, or the beginning of the party, she had put a pie in the oven for dessert. Maybe we had dinner, I can't remember. But she had put a pie in the oven for dessert. And I remember that when she put the pie in the oven, I kept telling her to check on the pie periodically, like so it won't burn because we're getting drunk and stuff like that. So she was too lazy. So when she picked 4, she had asked me to go check on the pie. So it's either you do it or you drink. So I think at this point I was probably already tipsy. So I'm like, I don't want to drink anymore. I'm always at my limit, you guys. So I'm like, I don't want to drink anymore. Let me just go check on the pie. So I go to get up. Yeah, I go to get up, and then I just slowly go back down because, like I said, we're having a party, so everyone around us is talking. So I'm not thinking no one just noticed that I just went back down. All right. So when I went back down, ex-girlfriend, my friend looks at me and say, "What you see?" So I tell them when the party is over, you guys, I saw one of the young ladies that was here with us, and she was following the man that wears the hat with the suit and the tie. I saw his shirt, everything, and he looked directly at me and just walked into the kitchen. Remind you, it's only one way in the kitchen. So we never saw him walk out. Oh, we never saw her walk out. She stayed right there like she never moved. And to this day, it's just like, why was he looking at me? I don't know. It really scared me then, and it still scares me now when I tell this story. And yeah. But yeah, I do have more stories if you want to hear it. From when I was a little girl to actually now. So let me know.
All right, y'all, let's get in some of this. Comments say, please, thank you for sharing. I used to love King Cubs. Girl, as soon as I see you rubbing my feet together, it's about to be a good time. But y'all see how nervous she telling that story. I actually believe that she seen what she saw, did that she was indulging in the spirits. You know, when you drunk, you can see stuff. All right, y'all, let's get back into these stories. Y'all comment down y'all thoughts below so far.
Unbelievable, but it's entirely true.
Okay, so this happened when I was younger, and I had one or two cousins over, and my sister and I were living here in a childhood home, right? So this is the window where I was staying at that time, and then she doesn't have a window on this side, but on the side of the house is a window. Okay, so in between there's a concrete wall. It's like made of blocks. So somewhere around here there's a wall. The bricks, right? Make a wall between the rooms. So I was in this room with my cousin, and we were laying on the bed, and we heard like knocks on the window. And you know, when you're young, you have a boyfriend, your boyfriend might come over, whatever, things like that. So I was like, that's weird. I didn't message him. He didn't message me. My husband's messaging me right now. Okay, so I was like, I didn't tell him to come over. He didn't say he was gonna come over. What's going on? My cousin's like, is it him? And I was like, I don't think so, but they kept knocking. Like it was so soft. Ever so sudden, I was like that. And then again, like if someone was trying to get my attention. I remember I looked and there was no one out here. I was like, what? And then, meanwhile, because this is what we found out later, in my sister's room, my sister started hearing knocks on her wall. So she thought, oh, we're like messing with her. We're trying to, scare her or whatever. And it starts going back and forth. And so we start hearing things. She's hearing things. Eventually, we both come out of our room like, what the heck? Because I started thinking, oh, she's messing with us. She's thinking they're messing with me. And then we come out and there's no one out here. So again, my room, wall, where my sister was, okay? And so we're just hearing it back and forth. And we come out and we end up telling my dad, hey, we're hearing knocks. Can you check outside? And he comes outside. My dad's a scaredy cat too, okay? But he comes outside and he looks around. He even walks to like that corner over there. He walks over to this side to see like what's going on. This is late at night. It's like 10, 11 o'clock at night. There's nobody. And my sister and I are like, what the heck? Because we both heard it on either sides. My cousin was here too. It was either one or two of them. And we never figured out what it was.
Well, thank goodness she didn't open the door. Because what? I don't get it. She went to go get her dad. She said her dad was a scary head too. Like what? I would have never opened that door. She didn't have no comments on her video because it was like a fresh video. But y'all comment down below to let me know if y'all had some creepy stuff happen like that to y'all. Okay, we get back into these stories.
So in my 20s, I was with this girl, and she had a duplex. And we would always have parties there. We would always get together after work or on the weekends, whatever. After everybody would take off, of course, I stayed. And it is literally the only place besides a hospital that I could not sleep at. The moment you turned off the lights, and immediately, the moment that I turned off the lights, I felt like there were 100 pairs of eyes staring at me. So that was creepy. That was the only time I ever slept comfortable with the light on. I had friends that when they would go to the restroom and they would turn off the light as they were walking out, there was this huge mirror. They would see other faces in the mirror with themselves. One of the nights that I spent there, we're laying in bed together, and I, to this day, I still have a tendency of putting my arm under the pillow and falling asleep like that. So my hand was dangling over the bed, and I shit you not, I felt something grab my hand. I thought it was her. It was not. She was facing away from me. So I was like, okay, what the fuck, right? So I'm like, okay, I might be imagining shit. Cool, cool, all right. I try to calm my shit down, right? Okay. Go back to try to fall asleep again, and I shit you not, something grabbed my hand again. Whew. Let me tell you, I stuffed that shit with a pillow, and I tried to go to sleep. I tried, but I could not. And then one night we got so drunk that I just knocked the fuck out, and I woke up speaking another language, and I heard a child's voice respond to me. Do not ask me what language it was, because I don't know. My girlfriend at the time was asleep too, and she didn't hear me. But you know how when you're talking loud enough that you wake yourself up? That's what happened to me, and it creeped me the fuck out. Then later on, she tells me, "Oh yeah, well, a lot of these houses in this neighborhood were built on top of an Indian burial ground." What in the poltergeist shit? What? No. So yeah, thankfully that relationship didn't last. But yeah, that's my ghost story. And
Let's get into some of these comments. She said, oh my God, hell no, I will never go back to that. She said, LOL, good thing that it didn't work out between us. Say, no, I always had this fear. Now, I've never had a problem with sleeping at any other person's house, but that's crazy work. That y'all comment down below what y'all think that grabbed her. All right, y'all, let's get back into it.
Tell me a ghost story that sounds completely unbelievable but is entirely true.
Hey, yeah. So, right after my husband and I got married, his grandfather passed away. And we ended up inheriting a property he owned, and it happened to be the house that my husband grew up in. So we had to do a ton of renovations on this house because it was just not in the best condition. It needed pretty much all new floors, subflooring, all this kind of stuff. So we more or less gutted it and completely redid it from bottom to top. And it ended up being absolutely beautiful. So we did end up moving in, and it was awesome. So one day it was a weekend, and we were cleaning up around the house. We had just cleaned the entire house. I was just finishing up some sweeping because we had a German Shepherd at the time. And if you own a German Shepherd, you know that they constantly are shedding, especially in the spring. So we had just vacuumed and swept the floors, and we came back out and there was just hair everywhere again. So my husband sat down to play a video game, and I went back and got the broom. That way I could sweep up some of her hair. So I was sweeping up some of her hair and went and put the broom back and came back to where my husband was sitting, and I saw a pile of blue sand. And I was like, babe, did you move the picture? So we have this picture that has sand in it from when we got married, when we did our sand ceremony. Let me see if I can get a picture real quick. This is the picture. And this was sitting on a shelf, actually, this shelf. But it was sitting up against the wall. And there was blue sand just all over the floor. And I was like, babe, why did you move this? I just swept. Why would you do that? And he was like, what are you talking about? I didn't move. And I said, there is blue sand in a pile back here. What? Why did you move it? And he goes, I have no clue what you're talking about. I don't know. What, blue sand? What? So he got up and went around the back side of where the sofa was and looked, and lo and behold, the blue sand that is in the frame was in a pile on the floor. So we were like, okay. So I swept it up and went back about my business and came back again about 5-10 minutes later, and it's back. The sand's back on the floor. And I look at him again and I said, okay, you're messing with me now. Like, really? How did this happen? And he goes, what are you talking about? And I said, why is there sand on the floor again? And he got up and looked, and there was sand, blue sand, on the floor again. And he was like, I swear I haven't moved. I've been sitting here playing my game the whole time, and I have not touched that frame. It is in the same spot it was earlier. So we cleaned it up, and we actually just kind of rolled on with the rest of our day, didn't really think about it. And we talked to his grandmother later that night, and she was like, oh yeah, it's your papa's birthday today. And we both looked at each other and we were like, oh my God, it's his birthday. And he was trying to tell us that he was there and try to make us remember it was his birthday. So every year in March, we start kind of laughing because that story was wild. And it never happened again after that.
Now, before we get into these comments, y'all comment down below to think do y'all think that was her papa or not? Great story. It said, King, I used this video on YouTube channel. It's called Pink Table Salt, and I love sharing it. Ghost stories. I credit everyone and add the link. Same here, y'all. That's why y'all see their at link of TikTok on there. Make sure y'all go follow them. Comment down y'all thoughts so far.
I grew up in a small town in South Texas, and we lived in a house that was maybe built like in the 60s or the 70s. I don't really know. I never really got the story or the right story. There was tons of stories, but who knows. So anyway, my stepdad had bought it, and it was like a 5-bedroom house, and there was like 6 of us or something like that. My mom had 3 and he had 3, and then they had 1 together, 7. So she comes in later. Anyway, so we used to play hide and seek in the dark, and a lot. I know, right? Weird. Totally weird, but not like those weirdos from The Conjuring. So clap clap motherfuckers. Let's move on. Anyway, yeah, we used to play hide and seek in the dark. One time my brother and I were hiding together, and he's like 4 years older than me. Can't remember who was seeking, but we were in one of the back rooms, and from where we were hiding you could see through the door, because the door was open, to the hallway that went to like my brother's room. And we saw this like tall black, it was like darker than the dark, like it had been burnt, kind of, like, is the only way I could describe it, thing, skinny, like walking to his room. And my brother was like, did you see that? And I was like, yeah. And my brother said that thing stayed in his room all the time. There's a whole bunch of stories I could say. All I can really say to give y'all guys like the best idea is that this is something that we kind of dealt with all the time. Like, there was paranormal activity consistently in the house, like doors opening and closing, cabinets opening and closing. Our dining room was wood and the rest of it was like carpet or tile, and you could hear like the chairs being like dragged across it. Anyway, it was crazy. So like that's just to let you guys know that we saw like what lived in the house. Maybe there was more than that, but there was definitely a demon in the house, because there was definitely like fucked up shit going on all the time. So anyway, you know, fast forward maybe like 2 years, my mom and my stepdad got divorced. We went our separate ways. You know, thankfully, kind of, we left that house and we lived somewhere else, so I didn't have to deal with that bullshit anymore. But fast forward many more years, and I was like 15, 16 years old, and my little sister, who my mom had with my stepdad, they had moved back, because at one point they had moved away and then they had come back, and my little sister was like, oh, you know, can you come stay with me, because I'm too scared to sleep in the room, because whenever we were all there before, me and my little sister shared a room together. And I was like, I don't really know, because, you know, that place sucks ass and it's fucking scary. And she was like, please, please, please. So I said, fine, fuck. You know, so I moved in. So, moving in, no one was there except for me and my sister, and me and my two sisters, my big sister and my little sister. And, my stepdad at the time, my stepdad was like an antique collector. Anyway, my stepdad collected antiques, and from when I was little, he had this like glass angel figurine. It was like really heavy, and we had this bookcase that was like built into the wall. It was like an arch, and this angel hung above it for many years. Like, it had never been taken down. And my sisters are both like nowhere near me, and I'm putting something at the bottom of this bookcase. Remember, it's built into the wall, so there's no way it can shake or anything like that. And I'm getting back up, and the angel falls on my head. So like, I feel like a poof, and I'm like, what the fuck? And I put my hand there, and there's blood, and I'm like, what the fuck? So then I like call my sisters, and my oldest sister, she's like, don't fall asleep. And I'm like, yeah, that's my first fucking thought. So anyway, we have to go to the hospital, and I have like an inch deep cut in my head, like that much, I guess, and I had to get stitches or whatever. So I'm not so quick to like to assume, you know, that it was like a ghost or whatever. So I want to go back, and I'm like wanting to see if there's any way I can like debunk this shit, right? So we go back after I get my stitches, and I'm looking at the angel, and the way that the angel is built, it's like built into it, right? So you have to like pick it and put it onto something. You can't just like pull it off, because you need to be yanking out whatever it was hung on. You have to like lift it up and over, right? And then what I see what it's hung on. It's hung on like a hook, you know, like a hook that's like mounted into the wall, and it's still there, mounted into the wall. It's not in any way damaged or, you know, anything like that. It's sturdy, it's in there. And the angel wasn't broken or anything like that either, except for the foot where it hit me in the head. But the back of it, where it hung, it was completely intact. And I went back and I thought about how I moved, and even if, you know, it had fallen down, it would have just fallen and hit my foot. But I had like gotten back up, you know, because I was like down on my knees kind of, and I got back up, and I was like, wow, there's no way that fucking happened. Anyway, so it really pissed me off. My mom was like, I don't think you should stay there. And I was like, yeah, well, I'm mad now, so I'm gonna stay there out of spite, really. But I ended up leaving. But that's one story I have on that fucked up house we lived in. I've got another story that I'm probably gonna do about this time when I lived in Ireland.
Now, if you made it to the end and your ADHD didn't make you click off on her video, Lord, that's why I try to put her at the end. It said, creepy, thank you for sharing. Are you in the valley? There are creepy spots. Now, she could have summed this up in less than 3 minutes, but she had a 6-minute video. But y'all get on me if I don't upload the whole story while you clipping out the story. And, you know, I know how to sum things up, okay? But I understand y'all want to hear the whole story. But I'm going to be back on here probably Friday or whatever. Y'all comment down below y'all thoughts so far. I'll see y'all later.